Welcome, Global Gardeners. Today we're going to be talking about magnets. Interesting fact, magnets were not invented, they were discovered. Legend has it that in a city called Magnesia in Greece, there was a shepherd. The shepherd was standing on a large rock when he suddenly felt the nails and buckles on his sandals being pulled toward the rock. So he did a little digging and he found these rocks called lodestones, which are stones that have magnetite in them. Magnetite is naturally magnetic and was pulling the nails from his sandals towards the rocks. So what makes something magnetic? Not everything is magnetic. My hair is not magnetic. This wall is not magnetic. So what's so special about magnetic things? It all boils down to the little teeny tiny things that makes everything around us. The building blocks of all matter, meaning everything that you see, the air, water, this table, your body, they're all made of these teeny tiny little things that you can't see with your eyes. You can only see them with a microscope. And those teeny tiny things are called atoms. Now, every single thing has these atoms, but the atoms are not the same. Let's compare them to Legos. So each one of these Legos is an atom. And it depends on where I put the Lego, how far apart I put them, or how close together I put them. That's going to determine what my Legos look like in the end. If I spread them out, it's going to look more like what air looks like. Air's atoms are very spread apart. They are not strongly connected, and that's why I can wave my arm around in the air without any problem because there's so much space in between its atoms. But what if we were talking about the atoms that make up my hard head, or this hard table, or this hard wall? Those atoms are closer together. Whoops. And they are also very, very strongly put together. They have strong bonds. So I can't just wave my hand right through this table or through that wall or through my head because the atoms are all squashed together and tightly bound together. So what's so special about the atoms that would make something magnetic? I'll tell you. There is an even smaller part to the teeny tiny atoms. There's a tinier part on it, and I'm going to use these to represent it. Say this word after me. Say electron. Good. The electrons are part of the atoms. They're so tiny, but they're very important to explaining how a magnet works. So I'm going to put a couple electrons on our magnets here, and I'm going to show you what happens when something's magnetic. These electrons, they spin, and if they all start spinning in the same direction, then you're going to get a magnet. So picture all these electrons spinning all in the same direction. Maybe you could compare it to a whirlpool that's spinning around in the water and it's sucking stuff into it. That's kind of like a magnet with its spinning electrons. Now, unlike a whirlpool, a magnet is only attracted to certain types of metal. It's attracted to the metal called nickel, and it is attracted to a metal called cobalt, which you find in a lot of zippers. And lastly, it is really attracted to the metal called iron, which is found in nails. It likes these metals because the electrons on those metals can be taught to spin just like the magnets electrons are spinning. So they'll kind of copy the electrons of the magnet doing the same thing, and they'll get sucked in, and they'll all be spinning together. Certain things do not have spinning electrons. Stuffed animals, no spinning electrons. Plastic, no spinning electrons. Spinning electrons, I found them in this tin can. There must be some of that lead, iron, or cobalt in here. And in fact, I know in a tin can, as well as in tin foil, there is iron. Do you guys want to know what the biggest magnet on Earth is? It's Earth itself. So you might be thinking, aha, okay, now I understand why I'm stuck to the Earth. But wait a minute, am I full of iron and nickel and cobalt? Am I full of metal? No, I'm actually stuck to the Earth not because it is a magnet, but because of a different force called gravity. Even you and I are experiencing a tug of war with each other. But the only reason we're not actually sticking together is because we're all in the same tug of war game with a much bigger force with the Earth. The Earth is actually winning because it is much bigger and it has a stronger force of gravity, so it wins that tug of war. She is not sticking to me, even though we are being attracted by gravity. And she is not sticking to me, even though we are being attracted to gravity. That's because all three of us are having a tug of war game with the Earth below us. And guess what? The Earth is so big and the Earth is so strong that it's winning every time. And so we don't stick to each other. Gravity depends on the size of an object. But on the other hand, magnets doesn't matter what the size is to determine how strong it can be. It can be a tiny magnet like this one, and it can still be super strong. So the way a magnet gets strong is based on how busy its little spinning electrons are. Think of it this way. What if I had two classrooms? One classroom is giant and there are 100 students in there. And my other classroom is kind of small and there are only 2 students in there. Now, this giant classroom, yeah, it's big, but all 100 students are incredibly lazy. And they have a project to do and nobody's working on the project. But over here, in the small classroom, they have the same project and those 2 people who are in there are super duper busy. Busy, busy, busy little bees, they get the project done in one day. That's like a magnet. Even though it's small, it's super busy, it's gonna get a lot of stuff done. And over here, this giant classroom that's lazy, not gonna get anything done. So even a small magnet can be very, very productive. Okay, let's play with our magnet. Let's see what items I have that have the metal in it that magnets like so much. So we're looking for objects that might have iron, cobalt, or nickel in them. So we already know tin can, magnetic. Stuffed animal, not magnetic. Plastic, not magnetic. How about some paper clips? Magnetic. How about some wood? Any metal in here? Little wooden block? No. How about some money? I have 3 pennies in my hand. Let's see. Not magnetic. These have copper in them. That type of metal, no spinning electrons. How about a pencil? I know there's lead in there. No. How about the end of it? No. Looks like metal. Guess it's not the right type though. How about a spoon? Not magnetic. All right, one last thing. This is a pan I use to make pizza. Very magnetic. That must have iron, nickel, or cobalt in it. Okay guys, I went and I got another magnet. I wanted to see what would happen if I put one magnet next to another magnet. So let's see, I've got a big magnet, got a little magnet, and oh, it definitely was attracted to it. Now, I'm going to show you something though. Every magnet has two different sides to it. There's a North Pole and a South Pole. So let's see, if I turn this magnet around to its other side, will it still stick to the magnet? This is bizarre, you guys. I am trying to push it into it. I can physically feel a force pushing it away. Whew. It flipped it around. It flipped it around. Watch, maybe you can. It flips it around to the other side. It does not want this side at all. It won't go. It just wants to flip around. That's because the North Pole of this one and the North Pole of this one, they don't like each other, and they're gonna push themselves apart. The North Pole is attracted to the South Pole of this one. Opposites attract. North Pole to South Pole, or South Pole to North Pole. South Pole and South Pole? No way. North Pole to North Pole? No way. That's how magnets work. Okay, I'm going to do one more experiment. I'd like to see if the magnetic force can go through another material and still be attracted to my tin can. Let's see if the magnetic force can go through a paper towel, through a cloth, and through a piece of paper. First up, paper towel. Let's see. Wrap it in the paper towel. Yes. Goes through the paper towel. Let's try the paper. Goes through paper. Let's try cloth. Goes through cloth. This magnetic force is extremely strong. I think people are a lot like magnets. I think the atoms that make us so unique give us each very special characteristics. And usually we're looking for other people who are similar to us, just like the magnet was looking for metals that had spinning electrons too. So say I like basketball. I'm going to look for other people who like basketball, and I'm going to hang out with those people. Or maybe you're a person who's into anime. You like watching it and reading it. You're going to seek out people who also like anime. They like watching and reading it. The cool thing about magnets is the magnet can actually teach another object how to be a magnet for just a short amount of time, not forever. But this magnet can actually teach like a paperclip how to be magnetic. If you rub the magnet and the paperclip together long enough, the paperclip's electrons will learn how to spin. And sure enough, it'll be a magnet for a little bit. That's so much like humans. I could go out and seek somebody out who doesn't know anything about basketball, and maybe I could teach them how to dribble or shoot a layup, and then we could play together for a little bit. Or maybe, like, my daughter loves this anime stuff. I don't know much about it, but what if she came and shared her book with me? So we could hang out for a little bit and have something in common. So I'm challenging you to be like a magnet today. Either go out and teach somebody something new that makes you unique so that you can share some time together, or maybe find somebody who knows something you don't, learn from them so that you can share a little bit of time with them having something in common. All right, Go experiment with some magnets. Find one on your refrigerator. I bet you have one. See what kind of metals it will stick to. See what kind of objects it will go through. And then seek out somebody who can teach you something or someone you can teach something to. All right, keep being unique like magnets. And I will see you all next time at Global Gardens.